So, hey everyone, I'm Mackayla, and today on the Soundtrack of Our Lives podcast, we have Kate Peytavin.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, so you recently put out Make You Miss Me. What has the reception been like from your fans?
I have gotten a great reaction so far. And what I didn't expect was a bunch of like little edits from like movie scenes of kind of like the main female character like going crazy, like over either a guy or like the situation she's in. And that was like all I could hope for was that people like resonated with the song and then kind of like correlated it with other like going insane moments because I was having a going insane moment when making it. And so I'm just really glad that that connected and other people are connecting with it.
What was your favorite edit that they made?
Oh, I don't know the name of the movie, but the edit was so good that I was like, I need to watch this movie now because I feel like me and the main character might be the same exact person, but I wish I could remember the name of the movie.
So, you also put out a music video to go with it. What was it like making the music video?
So it was my first time making this music video. I actually did two music videos in 2 days with I Don't Feel Anything, which I put out first, and then for Make You Miss Me right after. And that was a lot of fun because I'd never filmed a music video before. And I never really got to act out my songs. And so to be able to do that and like go crazy punching pillows and putting on lipstick and wigs and stuff like that, it felt very like therapeutic in a way. And just to be able to like express my feelings in a different art form was super sick. And I was like, you know how you get like concert depression when it ends and
Hmm.
you're like, oh, I just like do it again. Like that's exactly how I felt after filming it.
That sounds like it was a lot of fun.
It was so much fun. It was a blast. I miss it.
Do you have any favorite memories from both shoots, I guess?
Oh, well, everybody, like the whole like crew was like super, super sweet. And I just like I miss like joking around with them. I miss getting to like change into like the cool costumes. But I really loved the lipstick part whenever I got to like pop off the lipstick and just like go crazy putting it on. And like the wig and I applied eyeliner with like a fake knife. I
Hmm.
just liked getting to like the crazy shit with my face and like the makeup and stuff like that.
Do you typically experiment with makeup, or was this kind of just for that moment?
It was just for this moment. I tend to like play it safe. I'm a creature of habit.
Hmm.
Um, Getting to do that was exciting. Except sometimes I do like the pre-shower makeup where you go like crazy because you know you're just gonna like wash it off. Sometimes I do that, but that's like a bit different.
Anything in particular that you try when you're doing the pre-shower makeup?
Eyeliner because I suck at eyeliner. And you can see in the video that my eyeliner was like all crazy when genuinely I was like trying my best. But I also didn't have a mirror for like the video. So I'm cutting myself some slack.
I think it worked for the video.
It worked for the video. It wouldn't work for like walking out in real life. I actually, when I was getting on the elevator like at 2 a.m. after like we wrapped like shooting, and I ran into like a guy on the elevator and it was just me and him, and I had like the red lipstick smeared and then the awful eyeliner, and it was so embarrassing because I forgot that I had it on and I was like, hey, and he was like, hey, and I was like, why is he so weird? But yeah.
So I know that this song kind of came from a personal moment in your life. So what was it like putting something that was so personal out there?
I feel like it honestly wasn't that hard for me because ever since I had like social media, I was basically sharing my life. Like on YouTube videos, like my first YouTube video that I ever put out, I rewrote a song that I like wrote for my dad who was really sick. And so it almost felt like natural because I was just so used to, even if it's not like necessarily in like song form, I've been making like I guess relatable type TikTok videos and
Mhm.
musicallys of however I was feeling. And so it just felt natural. And I was like excited for to like share my feelings and have people relate to it. So it wasn't necessarily scary, but like therapeutic.
That's good. I'm glad it was therapeutic.
Yes, me too. Not dramatic.
That's always a bonus when it's not traumatic.
Yes.
So in being kind of, online and TikTok and YouTube, how has that kind of played into how you create your music?
That's a great question. I think it's given me, I think that comfort level to really be vulnerable, kind of like what we were like touching on last question, where I think maybe going into like these writing sessions I would have maybe had my cards a bit closer to my chest and like scared to like, talk to the producer and writer about what I want to make today and maybe make something a bit more surface level. But because I've been sharing my life for so long, it almost feels like, yeah, everybody that listens to me is like fine with my story and they're there for me. And so it didn't feel as, I guess, foreign in a way.
So what advice would you give to somebody who was kind of struggling with that vulnerability?
I would say think about the people that are going through the same exact thing that don't have like that outlet, because there's been so many situations where I've felt alone, especially with my song I Don't Feel Anything, because I feel like there wasn't that many songs about feeling numb, and I felt very scared and alone because it's like, why am I not crying? Like, I feel like there's all these songs about like, oh, I'm so devastated and I'm crying and I'm feeling all of these emotions. And it's like, there's no songs about feeling no emotions. I need to write a song about feeling no emotions for the other people out there that feel no emotions right now. And so I think it always helps to think about maybe the other people going through it that are like, oh, I feel alone. I feel like it's always good to just like lay out all your cards.
Yeah, that's a really good way to think about it. That you're putting it out there not for yourself, but for everybody else.
Absolutely. Always helps.
Yeah, so in putting out song about, feeling numb, what was the reaction like? Did people say that they felt the similar way, or how did people react to it?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely got like some comments from people saying that they like totally relate to it, which is great. And the music video did a lot better than expected. So I feel like people also related to it in like the video form as well,
Hmm.
which is always great. And of course, people putting like their own spins on it and doing like funny little twists on like why they don't feel anything if they like stub their toe or like something stupid like that. So yeah, I loved the reaction.
That's fun. I love that people are making edits to your music. That's really cool.
No, it's all I could ever ask for.
Are there any edits that stuck out in particular for that song?
I don't feel anything. I draw a blank. I draw a blank whenever I have to like recite like something from memory. Um, I'll have to go through like my tags or whatever, but there is a lot of good ones. There's a lot of funny ones. I feel like there's a lot of funny people that follow me, which I'm very grateful for. I think it's kind of like the people that are a bit traumatized kind of have the best humor in a way.
Yeah, I think that's very true. I don't know what it is about trauma that makes you funny, but it does.
I don't know. I just the trauma makes you stronger, and you make, I don't know, more hard hitting jokes. I don't know what it is. I wish I could.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. I feel like somebody should do a study on that. That'd be really interesting to find out why.
Maybe when I retire, I'll do a study on why people that are traumatized are funnier
That's the next career move after this.
after music. Yeah.
So you've been kind of in the music industry for a little while. How would you say that your music has kind of evolved from where you started to where you are now?
So much experimenting. It took me a year of kind of being in back-to-back writing sessions in LA before I released my first song, Ever Fallen. And even since Ever Fallen, my music taste has changed so much. And as I'm like learning about new artists and stuff, which is like homework that I've given myself, is to learn more about like really cool artists before me, like the Cranberries, Alanis Morissette, like just, trying to inform myself as much as possible. And as I'm learning so much more about like these artists that I've never really um, taken the time to do a deep dive on, it's
Mhm.
really made me want to experiment more and take inspiration from those people. And so as I'm just like learning about new artists and stuff, I'm being inspired by so many different things. So I feel like it's just kind of naturally evolving and changing constantly.
Yeah, is there anything that kind of discovered that you or that you haven't experimented with yet that you maybe want to do at some point in the future?
I think Alanis Morissette is a great example of somebody that completely changed my mindset, because what's so cool about Alanis is instead of making songs that are like, oh, I'm, this is happening to me and I'm very sad about it, she turns it into anger, which is, I think, super cool and super rare to be like, you're the one that messed up. This is all on you. This is not on me. Because I feel like as humans, it's our natural reaction to be like, oh, this is all my fault and I did it.
Right.
And what I'm going to put it into a song about how I'm the worst. And she's totally like, no, I'm not the problem. And you can hear it in all of the sonics, the guitar, the melodies, the everything. And so she's kind of helped me turn into like less of like the victim complex to like, no, you're in the wrong.
Also a very good thing to kind of get out of that mindset.
Absolutely. I feel like anger is a good thing. Anger is a really good thing. Or because if you don't let it out, then it just bubbles up
Yeah.
and you hold grudges and everything. And I think it's super healthy to be angry.
Yeah. But not for too long. You have to eventually let it go.
Let it go, put it in a song, and then move on. That's what I mean.
But you do have to feel the emotion.
Absolutely. It's the only human thing to do.
You also recently played your first show. What was that like?
Oh my goodness. It was surreal because I totally imagined that I would do awful and that I would like break down and forget all the lyrics and it would be super awkward. It definitely was awkward. It was awkward in between like the guitar tuning and I would like try to crack jokes and it wasn't really landing. But the music portion was a lot of fun. I really just kind of like left the fears by the door and just like really and channeled these songs and just like let myself get lost in like the emotions and performing these songs. And I think it went really, really well. And ever since then, I just can't stop thinking about when I get to do the next show. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
So are there any different jokes that you're going to try when you perform next?
Yeah, here's the thing is that I don't like to really prepare stuff. I like to think of it on the spot. And
Mm-hmm.
so sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. So we'll see next show if anything lands or not.
I feel like that's better than because that way you can kind of go with the flow and change it up in the moment.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you have any particular moments from your first? I believe you played two shows. What the like any particular moments that stood out to you more than others?
Yeah, well, actually, in the show that I just did in LA at Hotel Ziggy, when in like the middle of singing, the cord like fell out of the mic that like is
No.
like the speakers, and so you couldn't hear me. And I'm so glad that it happened because I was kind of like forgetting the lyrics that were supposed to come after. And I feel like, oh no, the mic, you can't hear me. Hold on, we have to take a break and fix it. And so I'm so glad that there was a technical difficulty. But I think that that's something that doesn't happen normally. So I remember that.
Guess it was perfect timing then.
It's perfect timing. I'm so grateful for it.
So how do you balance having a personal life and your growing career?
That's honestly been my biggest struggle
Mm-hmm.
because I'm originally from Louisiana and all of my friends and family are there. And then I'm here and it feels like it's just completely work because I don't have like those people that I necessarily grew up with. And so it can feel a bit isolating. And although it sucks, that's kind of like been good for me to like really get out of my bubble that I'm so used to living in. And it's also given me a lot of like concepts for songs. Like my song Help, it's really all about me being at rock bottom whenever I was just here by myself for like the very first time almost a year ago. And so although those moments were like terrible and sometimes are still terrible, it definitely makes me stronger and gives me things to write about with my music. So yeah, there's pros and cons.
I mean, I feel like that's with every kind of situation.
Definitely. Yeah.
And everyone's always like, you gotta work on that work-life balance. But I feel like you're always working on it. I feel like there's never a perfect balance.
No, yeah. I feel like, yeah, we're always trying. It's just, it's hard. It's the hard thing to do.
Right. Because if you're spending too much time with friends, then you're like, oh, I need to focus on work. Then if you're too much time at work, you're like, I need to spend more time with friends.
Absolutely. You can't win.
So you kind of mentioned earlier some of your musical influences. Are there any other musical influences that play a big part in the music you create?
So weirdly enough, my music sounds nothing like Steve Lacy, but Steve Lacy was like my very first like favorite artist. Like whenever I got a phone for the first time, I found like Dark Red and felt kind of just like deeply in love with like everything that he's ever created. And so even though my music doesn't really sound like him just as an artist made me want to like have fans that are taking away those same emotions where it's like, wow, I just never would have thought of that, or whatever. And so yeah, I would say that he's like a massive inspiration for me. Same with Tyler, the creator, as far as like world building goes, because
Mhm.
I feel like he is such an insane world builder with Call Me When You Get Lost, Igor, the characters that he's creating, the fashion behind it. It is literally an entire world. And like, I love how you can like tell who a Tyler the Creator fan is like right away just by how they're dressing. And I find that super, super duper inspiring. And so I spend like all of my time on Pinterest creating like mood board clothes, this, makeup, styling, like, everything like that. So definitely.
I mean, you could spend so much time on Pinterest. It's so like it's amazing, but also like I wish it didn't exist because I spend too much time on it.
No, I totally agree. I was literally on Pinterest before I got on this.
We do anything important, any research or just kind of fun stuff on Pinterest?
On Pinterest, I feel like it's almost one of like the apps that I use most for work because I
Mhm.
have like boards, stage inspiration, like stage outfit inspiration, or even just pictures that like match the tone of a song.
Mhm.
Like for the EP that I'm working on, I have a bunch of pictures where I'm like, yeah, that feels like it would be on the EP, like as just like a picture, like lots of like film pics and like dark moody pics or whatever. It's just like all in their own kind of boards as inspiration. Very, very helpful.
Yeah, it's always helpful to have inspiration when you're creating stuff. So when you're kind of struggling to be inspired, what do you do to kind of get those creative juices flowing again?
That's a great question. And that was one of my biggest struggles also whenever I was writing for the first time, because I was in so many writing sessions where it was like I was doing something new every single day. And it's like, oh, I run out of things to write about.
Mhm.
Um, and sometimes thinking too hard, I feel like it can be the worst possible thing to do. And so I'll challenge myself to like scroll through my camera roll and just like stop on a random picture and try to write a song from based off of just that picture of like how I was feeling, what I was doing, what was the time like whenever I was whatever I was doing in that
Mhm.
picture or whatever, because you can draw inspiration from so many types of things that you wouldn't normally expect. So I try to like think a bit out of the box with little fun activities like
Mhm.
that.
So if any of the songs you've already put out come from just finding a picture and writing about it?
I think Killing Time did. I think I was like scrolling on Pinterest. So scrolling on Pinterest and I like came across a picture of a clock. And then I thought it was like, oh, Killing Time would kind of be a really cool like song like concept or song title. And I was just kind of like sitting on the couch and all the lyrics were just kind of coming. And I don't know, it's one of my favorite songs like lyrically because it's a bit more avant-garde with I guess like a lot of the imagery. And I truly think it was because of like that creative headspace I was in with just looking at the picture of a clock and like all the other random pictures I was looking at or whatever. So kind of interesting.
That's a really cool story for that song.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't even like told anybody about it. So I don't know. I totally forgot that I did that.
Yeah, so when you're going to write a song, do you usually start with the lyrics, an idea, or the music first?
Yeah, so many different ways. I'm not particular like with the way that I go about it. Normally, I am just thinking like overall, how am I feeling today? Like, what do I want to write about? And then I'll play around with like chords. And then once I like hear like a chord progression that I feel like really vibes with like how I'm feeling at the moment, then I'll start humming melodies. And then with the melodies, sometimes I'll mumble a lyric and I'm like, oh wait, I was subconsciously like feeling that lyric
Mhm.
or what, and then it just kind of I keep adding the pieces after that. But that's normally how it goes about like chords and then just like mumbling melodies and then lyrics come kind of after or so. And a lot of times I go in to like the studio with a concept already of just like whatever I've been doing. But that just kind of happens like around that concept.
So you worked with Boy Blue on this latest album or latest single. What was that like?
It was so cool. Boy Blue is such a selfless person. And it was very weird, like seeing him in person because I worked with him over Zoom like over a year ago.
Mhm.
And that's when I was just getting started in music, or it was probably like 2 years ago. And I was just getting started with music and I really knew nothing about myself as an artist. And so I was having like such an identity crisis. And I was just like really emotional, like on the Zoom. And I felt like, I don't know, like a fish out of water. Like I felt like I was working with somebody who is so like sure of himself. He's like, he knows what he wants. And I just didn't. And I just like ended up getting off of the Zoom and we never finished the song. He was the sweetest. I was just a mess, emotional wreck for some reason that day. And so walking into like the studio and working with him in person, where I was like, wait, we've met before on Zoom 2 years. And then like going into the studio and making a song that I loved enough to like want to release is like kind of crazy because it's like two opposite ends of the spectrum. And he's just the absolute best. We talk all the time and yeah, I love him.
Yeah, I'm glad that you were able to have like a second shot at working with him.
Yeah, it was kind of like my redemption.
I feel like we all need a good identity crisis every now and then, you know? You got to figure yourself out.
No, it's important because and I think that's something that everybody like goes through, especially at like the age I was at. I was probably 16,
Mhm.
17, and I was just so overwhelmed, like because I had no idea what the music industry was like, and then like I was talking to so many different people that had all these different roles that I had no idea what they meant. And I was just like, I don't even know anymore. Like I don't even know what I want to make.
So, what do you wish you knew about the music industry before you entered it?
I think it's important that you work with people that you genuinely enjoy because at the end of the day, making music is such an intimate, beautiful thing. And when you're making music with somebody that you don't necessarily like connect with, then it's just like a waste of both of your time because
Mhm.
I feel like the art isn't art, it's not natural. Because there's been in so many rooms where I've like forced myself to like make a song with a person that didn't really get me and I didn't really get them. And I wanted to like force myself because I'm like, this person is a great producer or writer because they made all of these great songs. And so
Right.
I should write this person that wrote all of these great songs. And you know, there's not one person that's like, this person makes all of the good songs and you have to
Hmm.
work with them. It's all about the connection. And so yeah, don't waste your time on people that don't, you know, that you don't click with.
What would you say is the best advice you've ever been given?
Best advice I've ever been given. I've been given a lot of like really, really good advice from like people that I've worked with that have kind of been in the industry for a long time. And I think it's literally just authenticity because there's so many
Mhm.
people that are telling you like do this. And at the end of the day, like the whole point of like music is being like, hey, this is an expression of me. And
Right.
so whenever you input from a million different people, it just kind of I don't know, it starts to become less and less you. And you know, the people that are listening don't want that because they can sniff that out immediately if
Yeah.
it's fake. So literally just staying true to yourself and like sticking up for what you want, I would say, has been the best advice that I've ever been given. And I'm just now listening to it.
I feel like it's one of those things that's much easier said than done.
It is, yeah. Because I'm like, yeah, it is. Whatever. I'll stay true to myself or whatever that means. And then you see people that you idolize telling you, do this differently. And it's like, oh, yes, of course I'll do that.
Right.
Um, and you shouldn't. I'm very against that.
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely one of those things where you look back and you're like, oh, wait, that wasn't true to myself. But like in the moment, it feels like it is.
Yeah. And you have to like, and you're convincing yourself, like, oh, they're right. Why would I be right? And it's, yeah, it's trial and error for sure.
So looking forward down the line, what is coming up next for you?
So, help. And then I have another single coming out after that. And then it's EP time, which is my first full body of work. And I'm very excited about that. I've done all the Pinterest boards with like the pictures and everything and like planning it out. And I'm just really excited to like give people a cohesive body of work that represents me entirely. So I couldn't be more excited.
I'm super excited for you.
Thank you.
Can you say anything about the EP?
Yeah, so the EP is heavily inspired by my favorite movie, Girl Interrupted, which to me is it captures like I feel like the characters are so many different representations of like the different emotions, and it's truly a coming of age movie. And this EP is like a coming of age story of my
Mhm.
life, especially tapping into that like the numbness that I was talking to you about earlier, where I felt like I didn't hear many songs about like necessarily that numb feeling or many movies about it. But I don't know, I fell in love with the characters of this movie and it felt so real. There's so many movies where I'm like, that's not what people think, that a real person would never say that.
Right.
It's not like that. But I feel like with Girl Interrupted, it's very, very raw. And that's what I wanted my EP to feel like.
Mhm. So would you say that that is your favorite movie?
Definitely my favorite movie. Yeah. And that's why I was like, oh, it's a no-brainer that like I want my EP to kind of like be stylized around this, and like the concepts and even the characters. I've created like characters, alter egos that are inspired by characters from the movie.
So cool. I love that for you.
I love it for me too.
So before I ask the last question, was there anything else that you wanted to mention or talk about today?
I wanted to just say thank you for listening, because that's just kind of like all that you could ask for as an artist, is for people to listen to your story and care. And so if you kind of like listen through like all the way, that means a lot to me. And so yeah, that's kind of all I wanted to say. Stream the EP, Generation Numb, if you want to. You don't have to, but just put it out there. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for taking the time to talk to me.
Of course, you're the best.
So the last question is, what is the soundtrack of your life?
The soundtrack of my life is Jagged Little Pill by Alanis Morissette. That's oh, are we thinking from like a movie?
It's whatever you want it to be because it is your life.
Okay, thank you. Because I was like, wait, I don't know if that's like a soundtrack. That's just an album. But Jagged Little Pill, when I listened to the album for the first time, which was like not too long ago, I was like, oh wow, this feels different. And I think it's extremely relatable. I love the little imperfections with like all the songs with Alanis Morissette. She likes to like just jam in all of her feelings into like a few sentences that maybe shouldn't fit, but she fits it in anyways. And all of the songs were recorded in like 1 to 2 takes because it was just like raw and perfect and authentic. And I fell in love with it immediately. So that would be the soundtrack of my life.
Love it.
What's the soundtrack of
I don't know. Honestly, I feel like it would just be my family talking, like a family dinner, maybe,
I love that.
which maybe might be more arguing than talking, but
No, I think that's a great answer. There's so many like good like family dinner movies where it's like not movies about family dinners. I mean like scenes and like
Mhm.
movies where it's like I don't know. It really like sets the tone for so much. There's a really good song about like a family dinner and like I don't know, that's a really good answer.
So for our listeners who want to stay up to date and follow you, where can they find you?
My name is basically just like my social handle for everything, Kate Peytavin. Peytavin is my how you spell my last name. And I'm on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. I'm on everything, so where you can find me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today.
Of course, thanks for taking the time to talk to me.
Bye.
Bye.